Welcome to show 110 of the Cloth Diaper Podcast. Today I'm joined with Christina from Spunky Rumps. Spunky Rumps is a work-at-home mama diaper, and this is a fantastic show. I had so much fun chatting with Christina. Welcome back. My name is Bailey. I'm the host of the Cloth Diaper Podcast. And the other day, well, actually just a couple hours ago, somebody was like, you have a podcast about cloth diapering? What does that mean? Like, you just share advice on how to fold diapers? And I was like, no. We don't really do a lot of that. What we do is we sit down with brands and parents and we hear their stories. We often learn about why they consider cloth diapering, how cloth diapering changed their life, and a little bit about their business. Because something that people do, especially in the business world, is we're not very good about telling people about our businesses. And so today is a great opportunity to learn about a business. As you can tell, my voice is still kind of on this, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Why are you trying to talk kind of story? So we have an ad. Today's show is sponsored, and then we'll go into this story. Today's episode of the Cloth Diaper Podcast is sponsored by Happy Behinds. Founded in 2015, Happy Behinds is the place to shop for cloth diapers. Today in the United States, I would say that Happy Behinds offers the best in selection and diversity of products and value. Operating out of a 2,000 square foot warehouse, Jelena and one other employee are busy getting you exactly what you need when you need it. Happy Behinds offers many brands and styles of cloth diapers in addition to their house-branded products. To shop the selection at Happy Behinds, visit happybehinds.com. That's Happy Behinds, HAPPBEEHINDS.com. And to find out which products are coming to you next, be sure to find their Facebook group, because seriously, Jelena is bringing in everything and anything. And if you're looking for a one-stop shop for cloth diapering that's better than Amazon, it's Happy Behinds. Happy Behinds also carries Spunky Rumps and so many amazing small creators and makers from across the world. Check it out, happybehinds.com. Christina, where does your cloth diaper journey begin? Why did you start cloth diapering, and where are you and who are you?
Let's see. Where am I is the easiest one. I'll start with that one. I'm in California in the Bay Area. So, we love it here. Who am I? I'm a mom of one kid who's wild and crazy at oh my goodness, how old is he now? 15 months. And then an older brother who's about almost 4 in a couple months. And I started cloth diapering actually with my second, because I had initially posed the idea to my husband with my first, and he was like, no. So we took a break and I stepped back. And then with my second, I was like, I do most of the diapering, so I'm going to do cloth and kind of just spearheaded that. And I chose to because, the amount of diapers that you go through, even with just one child, is immense. Like, you use how many diapers in a day, disposables you might use at the drop of a hat just because they're, readily sold. So you don't even think twice about it if you get into the habit of that. And then
do you guys have small trash cans in the Bay Area?
Small trash cans?
Yeah.
You mean for the home?
Yeah.
We live in a condo, so we have like our own garbage area.
I've chatted with a few brands from the Bay Area, and you guys always bring up this idea of the amount of space and the amount of diapers, and now it's so many. And I was like, I wonder if this is the connection. If it's the small, because my mom has quite a small can in Vancouver. She only gets it every 2 weeks, and because they're seniors now, it's a really tiny itty bitty can, so it doesn't fit enough diapers for a week with one kid, let alone when I had two. So
now that you say that, we do have, our cans are not, they're not tiny, but they are pretty small. So to fit like a week's worth of garbage, of regular garbage, not just diaper garbage, is a lot. And then in the Bay Area, there's just a lot of people, a lot of people everywhere. So all you see is all this like commotion and garbage and people. And so I can actually definitely see why that's a big thing for us here.
I don't know if you've heard of BC Boo.
Yeah.
Janice at BC Boo, she had kind of said a similar story to me. And so I was just like, oh, I wonder if this is a connection here. Because I mean, access to trash really like varies. I love how you identified with your husband that you were the one doing all the diapering anyways. So you're just going to do it my way.
I didn't really give him any choice.
Here you are 15 months later launching a brand and bringing like the whole diaper shebang.
I like dove in head first, I guess.
Yeah. And I was snooping through your gram today and it looks like you've done like, where did this idea come from? It looked like you had done some good R&D and you were dreaming and then you did a launch in the summer. So how did you go from I'm going to do it to launching a brand in 15 months?
I think I have to give some of the credit to COVID and having nothing better to do with my time. But at the same time, when I started cloth diapering my little one, I started with G diapers and then I tried like a POL cover for a little bit. And then we did Sloom fitteds. And I was finding myself being like, I love this diaper, but so there were a lot of like things that I was discovering while cloth diapering him that I wanted to kind of tweak and see if there was a different way. And then it was also about materials. So I started like, I think I like dipped my toe in and then literally fell headfirst into research because I started researching and then, it all kind of like piles on each other, the things that you learn. So you like open one little window and then you're like in a whole nother building of research.
Yeah.
And then you just keep going.
Textiles is, I don't even know how to explain textiles. It's so wild because there's like what you think you know. And then you like casually open up a book or you open up a browser. And suddenly, I just think yesterday, Teresa at Luna Paca gave a presentation to us and she's talking about like the structure of the hair follicle. And I'm like, who knew that this is where I was going to be one day in a conversation about the structure of a hair follicle and how it relates to weaving a textile. But it's just a can of worms and you can't get out of it. And once you're in it, it's fascinating. It's like a art and a science. I was trying to tell my husband over the dinner table, I was like you probably go into textiles thinking you're getting a master's of arts and you're doing this creative fun thing and suddenly you're a scientist. That's at least how my journey has felt.
I just got have you seen the movie WALL-E?
Yes.
You know that scene where he's like, what is dancing? What is music? That's literally what I just thought of. Because you just sit there and you're like, oh, let me just click on that one little sentence. What do you mean by that?
And then you're just like, it. Yeah. And suddenly you are somewhere, which, okay, I saw that you posted a whole bunch of blog posts on your website. Is that why you use Tencel and Lyocell? And why is that? Why did you choose those fibers and the fibers that you're using at Spunky Rumps?
I chose Tencel because when I first started it, I was like, oh, organic cotton. And then you're using stretchy diapers and, you start going into the world by exploring what's already available to you. So there's a lot of bamboo diapers out there. So I was like, oh, cool, bamboo. So when I initially started researching for what material to use for Spunky, I had landed on bamboo and then I kept researching and then I realized that, I'm a huge fan of Tencels because I realized that bamboo, the way it's made is a little bit iffy. The process in which it's actually made into a fiber for clothing. So, there's actually stories of like, it's very harmful to the workers themselves and not just the environment. And yes, you can go into a whole box of like, bamboo as a wood is sustainable. Like it's quick growing, it's fast growing. But once you start manufacturing it into a fiber, you have to chemically break it down. And then it involves bleaching and all this kind of stuff to make it into this fabric at the end. And so I was like, I wanted to see if there was something else out there. So then I deep dove again. And then I realized I came across the Tencel fiber, which is actually broken down using amino acids instead of chemicals. And so it's a little bit more, not a little bit more, it's actually a lot more natural.
It's a lot more because carbon disulfide is nasty.
It's a lot more natural.
We don't use it in the United States anymore.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So the amino acids. I was curious. I wasn't sure what it was. I hadn't actually. That's a rabbit hole I've been avoiding.
Exactly. It's a big rabbit hole, but once you go down, it's fascinating. Like they use amino acids instead of the chemicals to break it down. And then once it's broken down, the process is actually much faster to break it down into a fiber. So it's quicker than what bamboo takes to break down. And then at the same time, the fibers actually come out naturally white. So you don't need to bleach it. Colors also, it takes on color much deeper. And so it doesn't involve as much water to rinse it out. So all in all, it was just like, I fell in love with Tencel. So, but I couldn't see another fiber that I wanted to work with. Yeah. And then once I actually got it in my hands, made it into a diaper and started testing it, it was like magic. It's absorbent. It has a wicking property to it. It's still an absorbent fabric, so it's not going to be like athletic.
We see Tencel used a lot in athletic wear, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it has a natural like wicking property. We have one of our, I don't know if you know Karen. She's
Berkey?
No, Karen Napoliello.
I know that name. Yeah, I know. Okay.
She's pretty big in the cloth world, but she's awesome for us in like when she uses the Tencel fleece, it wicks the liquid through. And she has an Instagram post about it. So she's going through the layers of the diaper and the liquid has wicked through the top layer of the Tencel fleece and into we use a hemp inside, so it goes into the hemp and it's got some amazing properties. So when you look at the sustainability factor and then the fact that it is also sustainable for its workers, and then you add onto it the fact that it is really effective as a diaper, I couldn't go back.
Lysol, we are finally seeing a little bit of an uprise in Tencel and Lysol coming into the market, which I am so excited for because bamboo is scary.
I know.
That was a bad research. So you make Spunky Rumps is known for, it looks like one of your first big ideas was the pocket fitted diaper.
Yes. We had 3 ideas that we opened doors with, which are still our main. And it was the pocket fitted diaper, the pocket contour diaper, and the BeEflat, which was our design of a pre-flat.
I was looking at the pocket fitteds and I was like, why have we not done this?
Well, the interesting thing is I was like, oh, we should do pocket fitteds. And then I went into research and it's not like it's a new idea, but I'm always struck by why more people aren't doing it. I mean,
because one of like my biggest complaints that I get from parents about fitted diapers is all the tongues and like a pooper. And so
exactly. And that was my main thing because I'm sorry, but my least favorite thing about cloth diapering is having to spray poop. It is if I could give it to my husband every time, I would give it to my husband every time. And we'd be like debating about it. So when I started out, I was like, I need to make a way for this to be easier. If I don't want to use it, I don't want to offer it. So I was like, and with the other fitteds that I tried, that was my kids have messy poops. So that was not fun. So the pocket fitted happened that way.
Really? That's how it goes. And then the pocket flat, is that the other one? Is just like a contour with a pocket, a contour. And then the BeEflat. The BeEflat?
Yeah, we just say BeEflat.
The BeEflat and then the BeEflat. And the BeEflat reminds me of Nikki's E-flat, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah. So our design, it goes, well, it has the wings.
Yeah.
And then so we designed it so that when you unfolded it, there were less curves and gaps. So you could have as much absorbency as possible. So it I don't know how to explain it in verbally.
I think it was just like have to pull them all out.
Yeah.
It looks like an interesting surge move that you're making there, though, because you have this like a snake arm almost, this curve through it.
Yeah. So I wanted to lose as little absorbent fabric as possible. So
I wondered.
It's like it's not even curved out. You're just literally like sliced in, and then the wing is there.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. It's basically just a flat that has a slice in it.
Yeah, on both sides. So it's
two slices,
Yeah,
two slices in it, and then that helps give you that flexibility to fold it in if you want to fold it in.
And then
you have to fold it in. You can't just leave it hanging.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have boys, and boys are front wetters, so that's why the tail is there. There's an added little tail that you can fold upward and in to give you more absorbency in the front.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So it is slanted towards front wetters.
That's a lot of absorbency. I feel like what is it? That is a lot of material. Do you find that it's too much for some people?
It's actually I haven't heard that it's too much because it's 2 layers of French terry, so it's still very trim.
Okay. It's just like, well, yeah, that's a lot of absorbent material. That's going to be a good soaker.
You can fold it different ways. So if you needed less, so I used to fold the wings in like 3 times. Well, so that there were 3 in thirds, and then the tail in half and up. And then as they grew older, I would just fold the wings in so it was in half, or even just like all the way. So it was just one full and the tail up. So it's like you can change it up a little bit.
Okay. I pulled it up so I could like visualize it. We'll have to include an image, guys. Well, you guys can go to spunkyrumps.com and you can look it up yourself. How has that process been of designing and creating products?
It's exhilarating and nerve-wracking, and you have a lot of anxiety of like putting your things out there and getting feedback, but at the same time it's pretty exhilarating. I've always loved creating things, and I don't think my mind ever stops for 2 seconds, so it helps to have something to work on. And I really love the like nitty-gritty of testing and then tweaking and then testing and tweaking and trying to find the sweet spot. I kind of love doing that. So
do you think so you've only been in business 15 months or so, not even. When did Spunky Rumps launched?
Spunky Rumps launched last year, August we opened and we're ready to take orders.
Do you feel solid in your designs? Are you still tweaking?
I feel like I'm in a place where I can be okay with my designs, but I am never close to the idea of tweaking them. Like recently, I had been sewing in my tags. So that's also being tweaked, but we used to use scraps as tags. And so I would stamp onto scraps of previous prints or anything I had left over so that I was able to use every last bit that I could. And I have been sewing them into the diaper, into like where the baby's rump would go. And then recently we tweaked that. So we tucked that into the pocket instead. And we had recently come out with a heavy wetter contour whose pocket had a hemp insert sewn into it in a way that it would dry easier. But one of our testers had told us that the hemp being so close to the rump and then more layers of tencel behind it was not as helpful as it could be. So we switched it around. So the pocket is actually on the outside with the hemp on the outside. So I feel like there's always room for improvement is my thing. Like once you stop improving, I feel like you're holding yourself back. Or once you stop thinking that you can improve, you hold yourself back. So I'm always ready to edit if I need to.
Always ready to edit. I mean, that's really the truth, hey? And you, I mean, we're always improving and tweaking and thing. But okay, but what's in the name? What's Spunky Rumps? Like, you had this name pretty early on. I was snooping. I was bored. I thought the time was wrong. So I've been deep in your Instagram. You knew you were going to be Spunky Rumps right off the bat, Christina.
Yeah. Rump is a little bit obvious. We're primarily a cloth diaper, but Spunky came from
Spunky with a capital punk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's two parts here. I need to know.
So there's a little wink happening. Our big thing is holistic sustainability is a big thing for me. Like when we talk about cloth diapers, a lot of people say, environmental sustainability, but I've always been like, the environment is important, yes, but especially now, community sustainability and our social well-being is really important, I think. And with COVID and the current situation, especially in the United States, I think it's very important that we're always aware of how the community is faring, how colored people are faring, just in general, how we are interacting with one another. And so Spunky was in a little way of like a hopeful. I mean, we are clothing the next generation. So my idea was I wanted them to be nurtured and to be, our hashtag is embrace their spunk. So it was an idea of like, how are we nurturing our next generation to be able to interact with one another? How are we able to allow them to shine, allow them to have their own individual voice, be spunky? And, punk in the definition is sometimes rebellious, but it also is like a little bucking of the system, like being able to shine light on things that people maybe necessarily may not want to talk about all the time.
I had no idea where this conversation was going to go.
I know.
And this was not it. I mean, not that I knew where this was going.
I don't think I knew where I was going.
I mean, embrace their spunk. I think that hashtag really speaks to what you were trying to articulate there too. And that
I went on like a complete tangent. I hope everybody knows that it's like 9:30 at night.
I mean, we don't always. I mean, they don't always. But I was just like, you're always a spunky. I mean, some people have like these generic, I don't know, I just pick a name stories. And
man.
This like poetic meaning of rebellion and unity and wanting to change the world and defining punk. And I was just, okay. We are here for that. I tempted to pull up definition of punk. I mean, I get you. I know where these like, okay, informal. Okay, let's do that. There you go. I mean, it's a fun name too.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
it feels Asian American, and
And I feel like in there, it's also kind of a little who I am. I've always been a little rebellious. I've always been a little loud for an Asian American. I can hear my grandma in the background being like, you're so loud for, just a little bit. So
good for my kids. You're the quietest one in the room.
Yeah. So it's got a lot in the name, but the spunk part was something that I kind of gravitated towards, especially for little ones who are, very spunky. They're naturally very spunky.
They are so spunky, aren't they? That's what I'm going to start using. My kids are spunky, not rebellious. They're spunky. What has been like one of your biggest challenges since launching that you've kind of overcome and navigated?
I mean, I don't know if I've overcome. My biggest challenge is
overcome it. Is there something you're just challenging with? I mean, yeah, I forgot how young you were when I was writing these questions. Like you've only been in business like 7 months.
Yeah,
when you've been chatting. So
we're a baby business still. The big challenge for us right now is balance. Mm-hmm. Like balance of work life, balance of family life, balance of work in general, and how to, balance growth with what I am capable of at the current moment.
Because you're sewing by yourself.
Yes, it's all.
And do you have a full-time job? Are you mom job?
Mom job. So I don't have a full-time job. So that aspect of the balance is at least, this is everything that I have invested in, and I am full on all spunky all the time. But yeah, the balance is a little difficult with 2 little baby ones, and
but yeah, 4 and 15 months is like that's some good energy.
That's for sure.
Yeah. How do you find time to sew?
You find a little bit here and there, and you go and quickly, cut one here, go back.
You're made to order. Is that what I was noticing?
Yes. Yeah. And the made to order part helps a lot. But it's still, we have pre-orders, so that keeps things rolling. And I'm realizing that I may need help sooner than I realized, which is a blessing in disguise. But at the same time, I'm a little like, wow.
Also overwhelming, sometimes scaling is not always the adventure people want it to be. I think there's a little bit of mix in that. Mm-hmm. Was it learning? I mean, you don't have any snaps on your products, do you? No.
Snaps?
No, you don't have any cam snaps.
Mm-mm.
No, that's usually like the first job people outsource. They hire a snapper.
No.
Some teenager to come snap the snaps because they just ate it. But you don't have that, so.
Nope, I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, yeah, exactly. She gave me the weirdest look. And even like, because you sell Humminbird wool in your shop, you sell a little bit of everything.
I sell everything. Bumby, yeah.
The full kit. And Humminbird doesn't even have snaps because Stephanie hates snapping too. It took a loop.
We did Bumby. We do Bumby. We don't do Humminbird.
Bumby.
Yeah, Bumby.
Oh, goodness. I named it Stephanie, so I knew what we were talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Stephanie was just talking to me like.
Snaps! No, we don't do snaps. No. Oh boy. Although,
what does your husband think now that like, I don't know, 2 years ago he wasn't into the idea of cloth, and now his wife has a cloth diaper business, so she's sewing out of the playroom while the kids are playing.
I mean, he knew the type of crazy he was signing up for.
Okay. What were you before? Like, do you have a background in sewing?
Actually, me personally, my background in sewing was like all the way in high school when like home ec. But my grandmother actually was a tailor and a dry cleaning service, and she did all the sewing. So I grew up in it when I was very little. So it's like a very ironic kind of poetry to me that I am doing this.
There's like there's this weird knowledge transfer that comes with like growing up in it, even if they don't teach you. It's just like, you know, you hear the words all the time, and
and like
you kind of intuitively know it, even though nobody told you anything. My grandma's a quilter, and so she quilted and sewed clothes and everything through my childhood, but I was never formally taught. But I get behind a sewing machine, I kind of know what to do, so I don't.
It's, you know, out there, love just transfers. It's crazy. I like when I listen to my own sewing machine these days, I like get taken back to when I was 5, and you know, you just hear that sound all the time. The like the I like played around her dry cleaning all the time, and it just brings me back every time.
And here you are making diapers and helping people clean them, probably. Right? Just right back where she's at. What your grandmother, who thinks you're the loud one, what does she think about Spunky Rumps?
She thinks it's amazing. Although she was like, you know, I mean, she worked very hard when she was doing the dry cleaning. So she's a little bit like, I can imagine that this is hard for you. Make sure to take breaks. But she's extremely proud. She laughs, though. She's like, I never would have guessed watching you run around at 5 that this is what you would be doing.
I don't think anybody can predict that anybody is going to end up in the diaper business.
I know.
It's just like it's not on the radar.
Yeah. No, it is not.
I was going to ask you about the future, but I think we kind of already saw a little bit of a snippet that like you're trying to juggle a little bit of that growth and what happens next. Do you have like a 5-10 year plan? Are you kind of going day by day?
5-10 year plan. I am going day by day, but I'm like super motivated, and I'm like really motivated by the people that I get to meet. And we have a Facebook group, but everybody in there is like so full of advice and love, and it's amazing. So it's been giving me like visions of the future, and I would love to be at a place where I have help, and the idea of help is not overwhelming. And you know, working outside of my home in a work environment. And I recently just started rolling this idea into action of a handmade WHM compliance specific marketplace where it is collaboration all the time. And so it would be on Facebook, but all the WHMs we could find who are compliant and in the cloth diaper business and adjacent apparel business would be within the group every month, would showcase one brand just on a rolling basis. So there's no sort of like voting involved, nothing. It's just to showcase one maker. And they would present a theme, and that theme would be for the month's market, and 4 or 5, I haven't really landed on a number, makers would join in on that theme, and they would share in that marketplace. So they would share one theme, they would share that market day. So it would be like a celebration of WHMs, but somewhere to find everybody in one place and be able to kind of try and see what everybody has available. Because I find that cloth diapering sometimes is very slanted to pockets and covers, and it's very hard to kind of find your footing in the WHM world and like a community there. But recently there was coincidentally somebody who like threw a whole bunch of us into a chat together, and it's been amazing to see that community. Like we're talking, we're sharing anxieties, and we're sharing advice, and we're sharing so it's been really wonderful and rejuvenating to not feel like you're in this space by yourself making and creating and trying to, like, sometimes it feels, very competitive, and it's nice to just like not have to feel the competition.
Yeah.
So,
and you should, we should connect and see how the Cloth Diaper Industry Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely.
can help or support or create spaces to amplify any of that. I mean, that's a lot of the work that I'm doing as well. And one area I haven't really tapped into is WHAMs, just as there's a lot of you guys and I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've been working my network space and it's slowly trying to grasp everybody together.
Yeah.
If people want to shop with Spunky Rumps, if people want to find you online, where do we go?
We are at www.spunkyrumps.com, and we are always in our Facebook group, which is Spunky Rumps VIP. You can search that term and we should pop up. We're very active in that group specifically. So if you had any questions, wanted to find it, that is where to go first. So that's for sure.
All right. Christina and I could have chatted forever, but nonetheless, we both needed to go to bed. So that is the show from Spunky Rumps. I hope that you take a time to go follow Christina, go find Spunky Rumps on social media. She is fantastic, as is all the creators out there. And if you're looking for somewhere to purchase the best selection in cloth diapers in the United States right now, be sure to check out our sponsor, Happy Behinds, at happybehinds.com. I'm so excited to bring you today's show. I encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter at theclothdiaperpodcast.com. If you're looking to work with me, whether you're a person who has a story to share or a brand looking to find some community, be sure to reach out, Bailey at clothdiaperpodcast.com. Until next time, I'll see you online.